Come on in, sit down, join us. Welcome to Fleet Equipment. We have been traveling and we're all a little tired. I'm Kevin Linger, joined by Alex Chrissy. Nice to have you here, Alex.
Yeah, thanks for having me here.
I just got back from TMC in New Orleans, while almost at the same time, you were in Indianapolis for Work Truck Week. You know, happened kind of on top of each other, but yours was more recent, so let's hear about it. How was the trip?
Sure, yeah, it was great. They have it every year in Indianapolis, Work Truck Show. They've been having it for more than 20 years, and it's all about medium duty, light duty, and everything to do with that. So it's a very big show, and it's a big part of what we cover. So it was good to see into that world, because we do a lot of heavy duty, and it's nice to see what's going on in medium duty as well.
Right, because that's a huge section of the market.
Absolutely.
A lot of owner-operators, a lot of companies out there that can benefit from that.
Mm-hmm.
Any major themes, regardless of what brand's booth you're at, any major themes across the show?
Yeah, so I think this year, it was all, well, it wasn't all, but it was a lot of EVs. And I think we've been saying that for years, but where I think the difference was this year was that we see a lot of practical uses for EVs now. So we're starting to see things like upfitting and like truck bodies that are designed for EVs and the different ways that the battery impacts them and where you store your tools, that sort of thing. It's a lot more like, it's less future looking and more, here's what we need right now because these are on the road right now.
So these ones that they are showing for now, are they actually available for companies, or is this still like, hey, here's what you can get in a couple years, we're thinking ahead, or is it, you can order this today?
It's a little of both, but the vehicles are on the road now. And actually one of the other big themes of the show was the companies, the OEMs like Ford and Mack shared stories from their customers who have been driving the EVs. So we heard from fleets that have started to have a few EVs, or we heard from one fleet who is all EVs now.
Oh, really?
They have nothing but electric vans. And it was interesting to hear the experiences that all of these companies have been having.
Mm-hmm. I think some of that was also happening at TMC. There was a lot of, EV tech. There always is at these things. But the overarching theme there would have to be efficiency.
Yeah.
So several companies going for fuel efficiency, whether ConMet, they're trying to tackle aerodynamics, Velocity and Dragonfly, using electronics to cut down on idling time. Vanair was working on efficiency, but in a different way. They have this jump kit that now can, they say, attach to pretty much every truck with only one or two attachments. So you can take up less space in your truck. It can get the other truck back on the road faster. That's kind of worker efficiency. Really everything that was at the show was about tackling eliminating downtime, increasing efficiency. You want to get the most out of what's going on at the, most out of your fleet, I guess I would say. If you're not moving, it's harder for your company to make money, frankly.
Yeah, definitely.
So another show that you recently took part in was Geotab Connect. Anything going on there that we need to know about?
Yeah, so that's Geotab's kind of their own company show, and they have it for the past few years in Las Vegas. I couldn't physically go, but they've been doing it the last few years, and we've all gotten very good at, live streaming and all these sorts of things. So I was able to take part in a lot of what was going on from home, which was really nice. So Geotab this year, they had a lot of announcements. There was some things about fleet safety. There was some AI talk. They have new products with AI and partnership with Daimler and route optimization software. So they had a lot to talk about.
Thank you, Alex. We have one more guest to bring in. You know him. Most of you love him. It is Jason Morgan. Jason, it is great to have you back here because you've been all over the place.
All over. We are back to pre-pandemic travel levels here in the trucking industry. Can I just start off? Can I give you the rundown?
Oh, just go. We don't have time for me to ask questions. Let's go.
So we kicked off things with HDAW, Heavy Duty Aftermarket Week here in January. Was the first trip right out of the gate. A couple really interesting things there. Of course, right to repair, right? So this is
a big one.
Independent repair shops should be able to repair trucks just like dealers should. There's legislation, both MEMA pushes it. Also, it's a big component of the Auto Care Association on the light duty side too, but they work together to work on the light duty and heavy duty right to repair initiatives. So those are gaining some ground. It's being put to ballots in several states. So there's good movement there, good news there. One of the most interesting presentations, so during Heavy Duty Aftermarket Week, there's a show and all the displays and stuff. Right before it, though, is Heavy Duty Aftermarket Dialogue. So MEMA puts this on. Derek Kaufman of Schwartz Advisors laid out this really interesting timeline for sustainability and decarbonization equipment adoption. So what does that mean? It's basically like who's going to buy electric trucks and when, right? When is electric trucks? We keep hearing this thing. OEMs are going to have zero emissions trucks by 2040, a whole lineup. How is this going to be adopted? What's going on with EVs? Blah, 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 blah. It was the first time anyone's really put out a really concise and specific overview of here's a timeline, right? It's usually kind of pie in the sky, a little nebulous. Yeah, we'll make this transition by 2040. One of the interesting takeaways, though, and I think kind of to lay some groundwork of where we're at in the industry with this sustainability topic right now, is that his thing is that moving into 2030, right, we're going to see a mix of powertrain technologies. It's going to be natural gas ICE. It's going to be renewable diesel. There's still adoption left to be had on the battery electric truck adoption, right? So it'll be a mix of all these different fuel types. There's no magic bullet, right? And one of his big takeaways was that the internal combustion engine, now whether that's running on renewable diesel or natural gas or even hydrogen in the future, it's still going to be a big driver and big player in that. I think as an industry, we're kind of coming to terms with that right now, that yes, it's important. Yes, we want to decarbonize, right? Yes, we want to be more sustainable. How do we actually do it?
Right. There's not a one shoe that fits every answer that we need here. Right. And I think even Noregon put out a white paper, at this point may have been about a month ago, where they said a lot of shops are going to have to spend money to invest in different ways to work on different types of technology, kind of along the same timeline. You know, you're going to have more fleets that need help, and these independent shops, along with Right to Repair, are going to have to prepare for this.
Right, right. And one of the interesting things there, we heard that at HJW as well. You know, there were a couple of speakers that got up there and said, like, look, this is an issue, but we need some real world, actual legislation and regulation that supports the solutions that are going to do it. It can't just be all battery electric, right? Mm-hmm. We have several OEMs on the record already this year that say, look, right now where it stands, the battery electric truck market is 1,000 trucks. Mm-hmm. Yes, there's more adoption to be had. It's really contingent on infrastructure development, which is a challenge. It's localized. You're working with utilities. They're big projects. I mean, we're talking, you hear numbers from 3 years to 6 years to get stuff in, and that number of millions of dollars as well, right? Potentially, depending on where you're at. One of the interesting things, though, and I think you've had a trip in regard to this too, is Cummins announced the X15N natural gas heavy-duty engine. I've talked more about natural gas in the past 3 months than I have in the past 3 years, I think, right? And if you get into how it works with renewable natural gas, then you can get into this net negative situation where you're actually at negative emissions, which is really interesting. But that was part of their HELM announcement, right? That's the HELM, high efficiency, low emissions portfolio that they're putting out. It's the branding they're using on B-Series engines, X10, X15 going forward. We used to talk about their fuel agnostic platform. Mm-hmm. X15 will be natural gas. It'll enable hydrogen. It'll enable more renewable diesel. Again, not all at once. You got to kind of pick your fuel for that engine. But gaining lots of ground there.
Yes, and I'm glad that you remembered what HELM stood for, because when you said it and then started to get into the initials, I started to panic mentally. But the trip I took was to Hexagon Agility to see their compressed natural gas setup, their renewable natural gas, and I think that they're really trying to, make people aware of. Everyone's worried about CARB and EPA Phase 3. Yeah. This, according to them, already meets those standards.
Yeah, yes, it's complicated, right? Mm-hmm. You mentioned CARB. That's something that I know we're working with to kind of dig in there and get a sense for where that is. They've got the clean fleets rule and all that kind of good stuff. It is very contingent on some of these battery electric zero emissions solutions. But yeah, I think everyone's kind of looking at we need solutions that we can put in place for decarbonization now. We need support for that as well. I mean, case in point, look at this. So then you went to Hexagon. Mm-hmm. We had HAW. Among all this, Volvo Trucks launched a brand new truck, right? The all-new VNLs, pushing fuel efficiency even further, up to
10% more efficient than the prior generation.
Yep, 10%. So look, from a OEM that has been very progressive and really even aggressive in rolling electric trucks out in the market the past couple of years. Big push, big efforts from them for their VNR electric. They had their Volvo Lights program to figure out how to do this. They've been rolling that out with customers. They continue to announce new orders there. But with the new VNL, number one, diesel truck first and foremost. It will be the platform for all their other
Right. They want to take all that work they did on aerodynamics and increasing it and just keep using that. They think they're confident this is going to be the next generation.
Right. So, but what does that mean? If I put that much more efficient trucks on the road, that's equivalent to X number of electric trucks on the road, right? It's that decarbonization. I'm emitting less emissions because there's still diesel trucks being put on the road. Putting battery electric trucks in there, sure, makes an impact there. But hey, putting more efficient trucks on the road also decarbonizes, and that's what it's all about.
Right. And the VNL was a very interesting truck to climb into. I got to do that at TMC. I met with Johan Agerbrand from Volvo, and he walked me through everything there is to know and more about the way they're selling these trucks, which is they're now sort of doing package levels, which you can read about on Fleet Equipment to get in detail.
There you go.
But basically, like when you go to a dealership to get a new car, and you can get this trim level, that trim level. They're doing that with trim and powertrain.
Yeah.
So different options. But climbing in the truck was pretty cool too. It's even we were in a mid-height roof, and I'm about 6 foot, and I could stand up no problems. Right. There's plenty of space in there for whatever you might need to do. Very cool technology inside too. I won't spoil it. I was fascinated by a very mundane thing, so you have to read about that.
No, I think it was cool. But yeah, we'll leave it. That was a good plug. Speaking of TMC though, let's dive into that one. Your first TMC.
It was.
What was your take?
It was fun. New Orleans is rainy. A wonderful rainy city.
It was. We got some water.
Right, but it was great to get to go meet people in person instead of over a video call or something like that, to shake their hand, learn what they have to talk about. Yeah. And while I was there, I also got to go on the Grote and Stoneridge ride and drive.
That's cool.
Was fun.
So what do you see?
There you go. 4C technology. So they were demonstrating their connected backup camera and telematics system.
Okay.
So on this little screen right under the dash, you can see, instead of going to go from someone back at your station to tell you, hey, we've received this problem, it just shows you there's a problem.
Yep.
You need to address this problem.
Right.
Just so there's no delay in getting to something serious. The backup camera, crystal clear, and they also had their mirror eye system in the cab, which I was a little skeptical of. I'm not gonna lie, because a mirror is pretty resilient.
Yeah.
Those screens looked clearer than my car mirrors have ever looked in my life. There's no window fog. There's nothing on it. They're crystal clear. You can see everything.
Yeah.
When they turn, they kind of move to show you everything.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
Yeah.
It's definitely, of the limited number of trucks I've been in, the fanciest.
Yeah. No, and you make a good point. One cameras are really on trailers and backup cameras and camera vision systems. I guess they're not camera mirrors, right? Because if you work with Stoneridge, they have the exemption to remove the mirrors.
True.
Right.
Right.
So they're camera vision systems. I thought the same thing. I even thought, would this be distracting? Is it too much information when you're driving there? But I got to say, no, I think, the more the merrier in what you can see, right? Because when you really take a look at it and look around what you can see around the truck, it's very, very limited. Those camera systems really open it up.
And especially on those tight city streets we were on, driving on, and in the rain, there was never any issues.
Oh, that's right. You were doing it in pouring down rain, too.
Yeah, it was a storm
That's
that
interesting.
day. And there was no trouble seeing everything around you, whereas your mirrors might get covered or something like that. But it was surprisingly, not to shill for them too much. I really liked the way it looked.
No, yeah, you see the difference. But you know what, you talk about that. So trailers are really kind of we talk about trends. Trailers are right there in the middle of it. We saw that at TMC. Not only trailer cameras and backup cameras that are growing, but also integrations, right? Integrations were a big topic. Philips Connect and ZF integrated with Noregon, really on that trailer side, trailer diagnostics, getting that information into the Noregon system for diagnostics. We saw Mitchell 1 talking about integrations, right? They have packaged their diagnostic truck series information with Nexic eTechnician. It's a diagnostic software that gives you, they're doing what you're getting from the truck and the information you need for repair and marrying that together, right? We saw Decisive adds their SRM Sentinel Manager Care in the Tyco Edge. The integrations just continue.
Yeah, I think we've seen that across a lot of brands, and I think it's a really good thing. Decisive also had their parts and labor report to present.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that because there's good news. Good news.
Let's hear it.
Parts and labor costs fell in the fourth quarter of 2023.
Give it up, everybody.
We love it. We love hearing that. According to Decisive, that decrease was driven largely by parts costs. Parts costs dropped 2.2% in the fourth quarter of 23, and labor costs fell 0.2%. So, you know what? I mean, that's a good thing. We've seen in the past couple of years, we've seen some supply issues with parts. Parts were hard to come by, right? I mean, if you think back a couple of years ago, we had fleets buying pallets upon pallets of brake drums just to make sure they could house them, and then they have to warehouse them somewhere. They'd have to work with their service partner, right? Seeing those parts prices come down seems that there's more movement in parts in the market. They noted that quarter over quarter, parts and labor costs both declined in the last 3 months of the year, and the parts to labor ratio held steady at about 1.5 for the past year. So some normalization there after some volatility, to say the least.
Which I'm sure is relieving to many people.
Yeah. One more thing I want to call out. And I don't, look, I'll go, this is Jason Morgan only. This is only my take. This is not an official stance by anyone except myself. But I would say that we heard more and more about artificial intelligence at TMC. You expect it at the technology shows, right? And you could see how, I mean, I've talked with, I know you talked earlier in the show about Geotab. I've talked with Geotab with their AI. We've actually talked with the AI about service issues, and they showed me how they're doing that, right? But I think we're starting to see something different here in the market as a whole where AI is empowering solutions. Right, it is enabling solutions now. It's not just a marketing bullet point of like, oh yeah, we're AI, we're AI, it's great, marketing, great, driven by AI, great. Right. I think what we're starting to see is AI is powering a lot of solutions. That is great, but I would maybe just encourage our fleet manager audience to really kick the tires on those AI solutions. Right, I mean, we've been through this a little bit before with an ELD mandate and a lot of solutions coming into the market. We've been with this, even the electric trucks, we've seen a lot of good solutions come from it, but also maybe buyer beware, right? Know what you're getting into. Really ask a lot of questions and go through your vetting process to do that. Because there's going to be more solutions. Some are going to be great and applicable to the business and running a more efficient fleet. Some, I don't know. We'll have to see. But just wanted to throw it out there. AI is increasing, and it's no longer just a marketing bullet point. Enabling solutions, go into it with a little bit of caution.
You heard it here first. Buy AI now, AI today.
I don't know. Maybe that wasn't.
I think that we're speaking to people who have been in the industry long enough to understand the apprehension around new technology. It is great. It's great, but it is also terrifying.
Well, it's just you want to make sure you know what you're getting into there. There are... And in the market, we have fleets that are super sophisticated and probably already using it in ways that would blow our minds. But then you get in the midsize and small fleets, and look, everyone's wearing a lot of different hats in those operations. They want solutions. Again, just know what you're getting into. Really, really vet it. Put it through. Like, look, you don't put a new tire into your fleet more often than not without trialing it or giving it a try, right? Mm-hmm. Take that same mentality into any AI powered solutions as well. Give it a try. Do a pilot phase.
All right. Anything else you want to hit from the litany of trips you've been on?
What's next?
Are we allowed to say?
Yeah.
All right. Next, you can find us at ACT Expo in Las Vegas. If you see us running around, say hi, and if we look busy, we are. But for Fleet Equipment, he's Jason. You saw Alex. I'm Kevin. We'll see you next time.